Kehilat Kasai, La'am Laila Kiyasa.
Omdos hayu Rabbeinu b'sharayim Yerushalayim.
Nei she'enei afadim al yad Adonaihem, ke'enei shivcha el yad gibirtam, kein einenu el Adonai Eloheinu ad tzirchoneinu.
Rabbi Liberman, who has roots here in Chicago, and for the last 35 years has been the director of Chabad of Ashkelon.
Okay. As you see from my right here, I've lived through a few things. And I remember very distinctly when we had a very similar situation right after in the beginning of the Yom Kippur War, when the situation was horrendous. I don't know if it was bad then as it is now. It was very bad then, it was very bad now. But the Lubavitcher Rebbe taught us what is the key to turn around the entire situation. About a month ago, we led in the Torah terrible, terrible clauses, terrible curses, and different things that can, God forbid, afflict the Jewish people. And the Torah HaKadosh, our Holy Torah, gives us one reason, only one reason why all of this takes place. That you did not serve Hashem with much joy and much happiness in every situation, in every place, in everything that befalls you. We have to realize that it's the hand of Hashem which is leading that particular situation. And similarly, it was after the Yom Kippur, in the beginning of the Yom Kippur War, that Rebbe said the thing to change around the entire situation is only if people will be in Simcha. By the Yom Kippur War, I already left Ashkelon, I already lived in Detroit with my parents, and there were many people over there who wondered, what is this Lubavitcher Rebbe is demanding Simcha from the people when the situation is just so horrendous, thousands and hundreds of people killed and wounded. Why does the Rebbe demand Simcha? But the answer is, this is the key to change about the situation. The situation today is that people are very depressed, people are very afraid, people are very panicked. In the city of Ashkelon, there's constantly a stench of fire. There's maybe 15, 16 fires a day as a result of all the rockets that fall in the city and cause tremendous amount of destruction. My home has been damaged by the rockets. My children's cars were just completely burned to destroy. Today, earlier, a rocket had a direct hit on our girls' high school, making it unable to be used. But the key to change is all about is the key of Simcha. And that's why our volunteers go day in, day out, and go to the soldiers and visit the families. I heard the speaker speak so eloquently about the difficulties when people are killed. Today the situation is much worse. Over 1,000 people were killed, but there's hundreds that were captured by the Hamas, and the mind cannot fathom, is boggled by the tremendous pain and treacherous abuse that they undergo in the hands of these vicious animals. Stories are told that in the center of Gaza, there was even a big bonfire where they burnt alive several of the Jewish captives that they have. And the stories are just horrendous. Terrible stories are coming out of Gaza. But the only way that we can win this war, the only way we can change the people, is if we give them a lot of encouragement and strength. And that's why at the moment we have a campaign to buy ceramic armor protection for the soldiers and for our volunteers, and also level 3 protective helmets for our volunteers and soldiers. This is what we're trying to do at the moment, to get as many people to be able to elevate the morale that the soldiers have and that the people have at home. It's very dangerous to go outside at the moment because there's constantly, I don't know if you heard before, but there was bombing here now in the city of Ashkelon, and it's constantly taking place. The answer is with Simcha Mit Hashem, Simcha that comes as a result of a lot of emunah that everything that Eibishter does is for our good. There's no question that the situation will become from Ma'az Yitzei Matok, from the very, very difficult situation as was mentioned before. There was never a situation like this since the Holocaust, but it'll all become for the good, and together, as a result of this good, we will march to the coming of Mashiach speedily in our days.
Amen.
If anyone has any questions, comments, or criticism, I'll also be happy to hear.
Rabbi, we certainly have no criticisms, and our comment is that we send you our love, our support, our unity, and our wishes of Am Yisrael Chai. We're with you.
Amen.
With our acts of goodness and kindness and all Achenu Bnei Yisrael and Hertz Yisrael. Thank you for taking this time. I know it's in the middle of the night in Hertz Yisrael. We truly appreciate it. And if you can see the crowd that is here and throughout the world, you know that we stand for one echad, and that will certainly merit that God will bless us because we stand united together. This community right here, there's Jews, there's Gentiles, there's people from all around Chicagoland who have come together to show the solidarity and support for all of the Jewish people and for all people who cherish and love freedom. So God should bless you and protect you.
We all yell together, Vayihi Erev, Vayihi Boker, Yom Echad, Yom Sheni, Yom Shlishi. What statement are we saying? So the Rebbe tells us that every new light has to be preempted by darkness. You have Erev, but after the Erev we can come to Boker. If there's no Erev, if you have no questions, if you have no difficulties, if you have no challenges, you cannot reach a new level of Boker. God willing, this very, very difficult Erev of darkness, like you say, here it's night, will bring a new Boker, will bring a new light, a new Simcha, a new revelation for us, for the entire Jewish people. Thank you.
So we here in Chicago are blessed to have Rabbi Menachum Slavaticki, who is the director of the Chabad Israeli Center right here in Skokie. We ask him to come forward and share a few words in Ivrit, in Hebrew, and then he'll translate for everyone.
אני רוצה להגיד כמה מילים לקהילה הישראלית שלנו. חטפנו סתירה חזקה לפנים. יש בקהילה שלנו, in our community here in Chicago, in the Israeli community, just tens of thousands of them. יש בינינו חטופים, נזכיר את יהודית בת תמר, נטלי בת יהודית, נועה בת ליאורה, אבינדב בת דיצה. Local people who are captured now. There are local people now from here who lost close relatives, איבדו יקיריהם. אני מקבל טלפונים מאנשים שלא יודעים איפה השכן שלהם בארץ נמצא. מצב איום ונורא. קיבלנו פאץ' מה שנקרא, סתירה לפנים, אבל כמו שהזכירו פה מקודם, עם ישראל חי ובלב שבור ורצוץ, אבל לעולם לא מתייאשים. יש לנו רוח איתנה וחזקה, וביחד אנחנו ננצח. when we stand together, united, no one will stand against us. In Kol HaKoshi, when you watch now what's going on in Israel, the outpour of love, איזה התנדבות, איזה רוח לחימה, איזה נתינה. בטח ראיתם את הטנקים הולכים, hundreds and thousands of people, giving them food and water and standing and cheering. We are with you. The reason we are all here now, למה אנחנו פה? Because we feel we were hurt. זה לא נגדם, זה נגדנו. זה נגד עם ישראל, ואנחנו כולנו ביחד. ואם אנחנו ביחד, אנחנו ננצח. We are together in it. ועם ישראל יעמוד בזה וינצח בזה. מה שאני אגיד, if you know any friends, Israelis here in Chicago, certainly if you know in Israel, I get calls from people who sit literally the whole day by the screen and crying. They don't feel necessarily that strong support, even though there is. The news doesn't show it. Pick up a phone call. I did it today. You have no idea what impact it has. People ask what you can do in addition to everything we mentioned now. Torah, Tfilah, Tzedakah. Pick up a phone call to any Israeli you know. Certainly in Israel and here locally in Chicago. A friend. Every Israeli in Chicago here has a cousin who has a second cousin friend who knows somebody who is captured or is murdered. Just as I walked in here, a girl called me, she served in the Magad in Israel, and she found out now המפקד שלה נרצח עם כל משפחתו. His commander. Pick up a phone call. Say we are all with you. We love you. We are in it together. וביחד ננצח. ביחד אנחנו ננצח בעזה. בעזה ראשי תיבות בעזרת השם. עם ישראל חי.
Now we turn to Rabbi Flinkenstein, who is the Rebbe's personal emissary to the area of Wilmette, director of Chabad of Wilmette. We call him up here not as a rabbi, but tonight we ask him to come forward, for he is a father of an active IDF soldier.
Just as this is very personal to me and my wife, the reason we are all here is that this is personal to each and every single one of us. This touches us all very deeply. We are devastated, we are heartbroken, we are deeply pained. And to echo the words of a medieval poet, famous poet, Rabbi Yehuda Halevi, Libi b'mizrach, v'ani b'sof ma'arav. My heart, our heart, is in the east, but the rest of us is here at the edge of the west. And the question we ask ourselves, Ma yihiyeh, ma yihiyeh, what will be? The Rebbe would emphasize, not ma yihiyeh, but ma na'aseh. What shall we do? What can we do? My dear friends, this attack was well planned, and so was its timing. We were attacked just after commemorating 50 years after the Yom Kippur War. Going back 50 years, 3 days just after the Yom Kippur War, the Rebbe had a hitva'adut, a gathering of Siddim, a public gathering, and not just public gathering, which the Rebbe would usually do just before the celebration of Sukkot. He addressed the question, what is there a place for such a gathering today? Yes, it's traditional we have this at this time before Sukkot. It's a celebration of sorts. But does it have a place today? There were many who called that perhaps we should have days of fasting, which would be appropriate. The Rebbe's response was unconventional, counterintuitive, but extremely powerful. We heard a bit about it before, but to paraphrase in different words. Terror wants to instill fear. Fear is paralyzing. Fear is crippling. Fear is incapacitating. Joy is totally different. Through joy, one finds liberation. Through joy, one experiences empowerment. Through joy, one gains strength. Through joy, one discovers boundless freedom. This is not about being insensitive to those who are suffering and those in pain. On the contrary, we feel deeply. However, we shall not, we will not surrender to terror. And we will not allow terror to gain control over our minds and over our hearts. And certainly not over our spirits. As the Rebbe explained, since by divine providence we find ourselves before the holiday of Sukkot, this means that the empowerment that we have, the key that what we can do, who are so far away, is through adding in simcha, through adding in joy. Today's attack took place on Shmini Atzeret Simchat Torah, which is not only the most joyous day of the year, it is the day that we recognize and we celebrate the eternal gift and the mission statement that God gave the Jewish people, our holy Torah. We celebrate the Torah, we celebrate the mission statement of being a light unto the nations. This we recite, we say, and we read in the Torah on Simchat Torah, Torah tziva lanu Moshe, Morasha Kehilat Yaakov. The Torah that we have is the inheritance and is the birthright of every single man, woman, and child. This is our birthright. This is the key to Jewish immortality. And this is our mission statement. Our mission statement is to overcome darkness with light. That's the only way we can truly overcome darkness, with light. Someone just asked me, is that true? Is that a real statement? Try to accept. However, with terror, we sometimes feel so intimidated to strike that match, to turn on the light, to bring more light. So what can we do? What must we do? We must add more light. We must add more mitzvahs. So while our brothers or sisters are on the front line, and while the IDF needs to do what they need to do in order to secure our brothers and sisters in our holy land of Israel, what we can do over here is we must add in our mitzvah. We must add in light to such a dark place. I encourage you, visit the website, onemitzvah.org/Israel/Chicago. We're all doing mitzvah. Being here is a mitzvah. Let's spread the light. Let's share this with others. Let's take on additional light, like the mitzvah of tefillin, giving arms to Israel by putting on tefillin on our arms and our heads, lighting Shabbat candles, bringing additional light to our home and bringing additional light to the world, having mezuzahs on our doors, checking mezuzahs, giving tzedakah, supporting those who are in Israel, adding an additional act of kindness. This coming Shabbat, we begin the Torah anew, Shabbat Bereshit. This Shabbat, every synagogue, every shul should be packed. We should not be intimidated to walk into a shul. There should not be a place to sit in the shul this coming Shabbat. That's what we should do. That's what we can do. Rebbe also encouraged having a unity Torah scroll. When you leave tonight, there are those who are at the door who have leaflets. You can sign up for a unity Torah, because in each and every one of us has a letter in this Torah. The Torah unites us and protects us all. All Am Yisrael are protected with Torah. This is our eternity. And since all of this must be done with joy, let us conclude. As we led up to Simchat Torah, before Simchat Torah, throughout Sukkot, there are prayers that we say leading up to Shmini Atzeret Simchat Torah. We say, we conclude the Hoshanot. We turn to Hashem. Ona Hashem Hoshiana. Please Hashem, bring us salvation. And we conclude it all with a verse from Psalm 28:9. Hoshia et amecha, uvarech et nachlatecha, ureim b'naaseim ad haolam. Deliver your people, bless your heritage, tend them, and exalt them forever. To bring this message home, let us all conclude as we take on a resolution to bring more light. As we remember that Simchat Torah was not just a day that darkness entered into our time of joy, but a time when we were also given the empowerment to overcome that darkness through the Simcha of Torah. This is the war of Simchat Torah. Let us conclude with Simcha, a prayerful wish, a prayer to the Almighty God, but a prayer with joy. Please join me.
Ashkelon.
everybody for coming. Rabbi, may God bless your son, keep him safe along with all the holy soldiers of the IDF. Kol Achenu Bnei Yisrael, Eretz Yisrael, all of our brethren in Eretz Yisrael. May God bless us to have joyous reasons to congregate and let the word go forth. Am Yisrael Chai. Good evening, everybody.